Hello, and on this week's episode of the 365 Message Center show, we are going to talk about, well, Teams. This is going to be one of those shows, right? So a couple of Teams items we're going to talk about. One, when you're presenting, do you want to be in Do Not Disturb mode? Do you want to have pop-ups? Well, you're going to be able to decide. We're going to show you that. The next Teams message is going to be about how you can share a link to a shared channel so people can request access to those shared channels. And then a non-Teams one is they're removing functionality from Microsoft 365 Search. What in the world? Soapbox time. Stay tuned. Let's roll it.
You know it's a serious episode when Daniel says, at the top of the show, I'm getting out my soapbox.
I was on that message. I was reading it. And I'm like, maybe I'm reading this wrong. Maybe they're not taking away functionality that people actually use. Maybe I'm just being silly.
No. The natural language that was used to describe the message. You see where I'm going with this? You know,
I do.
It's pretty clear what they're
You're a little bit too much on the nose, though, with your.
I know.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 333. And no, I'm not on repeat.
No.
That is actual, right? Glad you're here. Make sure you use the chapters down below to get to various segments of that you want to watch. So, on this week's episode, we're jumping into it, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because I'm ready for my soapbox. Like, I actually just pulled it out, stepped up.
You're going to get on the soapbox as the very first message, the very first thing we're going to talk about.
This is going to really set the tone for the whole episode. So buckle up, Buttercup. Updates to natural language-based search in Microsoft 365 MC793654. So, okay, updates to natural language-based search. Cool. Maybe we're getting additional functionality, you may ask. You may be wrong if you ask that, because they're actually just killing it. Yeah, they're going to say, you know what? We have another product that does language-based search, and we don't want you using Microsoft 365 Search anymore. So now you do, and I like the example that they're using here, that sometimes you might say in search emails from John about planning. You might put that in search, or document or PowerPoint about board meeting in March or something, right? And Microsoft Search would go, okay, here's the documents I think you're talking about. Well, now they're going to kill that, and it's not going to work that way anymore. You're going to have to go back to the, 90s or whenever we started doing search in Google, and you're going to have to do just terms. So you're going to have to do board, B-O-R-E-D? I don't know, maybe. You're going to have to do meeting, March, PowerPoint. And if you don't do it that way, you're not going to get the results you want.
Does that mean return to Boolean search patterns? Wow. It's been a while since I've used things like proximity statements.
So it is... this is a regression, people. Call your representative if you're in the U.S. Hey, even if you're not in the U.S., call your representative and complain about this. Give a thumbs down on the message. Let them know. I mean, if you disagree, maybe you agree. Maybe you're okay with this, and that's fine, and we just can't be friends. So what products is this affecting? Lots of them. So it lists out there Outlook. We have Teams, we have SharePoint, we have OneDrive, we have Microsoft Search on Bing. So you're searching in Bing, okay? And it's connected to your work. When you do a search in normal natural language, which is what we all do, you go into Google, what is the, or when is the, those kind of phrases. And So if you're using Bing and you do that and you search on the work tab, it's not going to work very well, or it won't work how you expect, is what they're saying. And then Microsoft Search on Office.com, although haven't they officially renamed that to, or URL'd that to Microsoft365.com? Anyway.
Yes.
So, basically all the places you search for stuff, they're changing this. And hopefully you could tell, I think this is a crappy idea. So I don't know why. I don't have any insights as to why they're doing this and why this would be advantageous, other than driving usage to Copilot. Let's just be honest. I think that's what's happening here. Maybe just my opinion. Not a big fan, if you could tell. Not a big fan at all. So now I'm going to throw it over to Daryl, and he's going to give an opinion, or maybe not, but I don't want to put words in your mouth, so I can calm down and take a sip of water.
Okay. Yeah. Well, just off the soapbox, just back down onto solid ground, dry land. I agree that it is strange to take away something like this. I don't know. I can come up with all sorts of corporate conspiracy theories about why. But I won't, because I value my relationships with people at Microsoft. Yes, that's how I'll put it. Yeah,
just
that's
burn
right.
a bridge? Great.
Yeah, I think, but we'll probably see a future at some point where that search box takes us through to something with Copilot in it, right? So if you're throwing your search terms in there,
if you're licensed, yeah.
Oh, right. Yes. Very good point. That's all I got. That is safe enough to say.
Well, and I mean, yes, keyword searches and all those things that we learned how to do, 15 years ago. Those are still going to work. It just seems very frustrated, or I'm frustrating about this. Now, it does say selected natural language queries for emails, files, calendar items, and acronyms will continue to be supported. Okay, selected ones. So if you go to the help documentation, or the link down below at the very bottom, you're going to get some scenarios and things, but it's also going to give you items that are not supported, so you can kind of see how that'll work. So rolling out early July, so get your fill with search actually working for you before then. I'm supposed to be off my soapbox, I forgot. Early July, completed by late July. Love to hear your thoughts on this. Give us a comment down below, or on socials at 365MCS. Tell us what you think about this change. I would love to hear if you're up there on the soapbox with me, or if you're like, Daniel, you're talking weird. Daryl, I want some insights now. I want some insights about Copilot. Give me some insights.
Well, you don't need insights, Daniel. That's actually the core of this message. It's interesting. Microsoft Copilot Dashboard in Viva Insights will become available with Copilot for Microsoft 365 MC793652. We today have a dashboard that tells various people who have access to it how Copilot is being used, not to any really great depth or detail, but it does help. And this is important to organizations who have made that investment. They've put the dollars in, they've committed to a year's subscription, they've got a certain number of licenses that they've issued to groups of people, and they want to know how people are using it. Are they getting the most out of it? Where do they need to focus their adoption efforts in terms of helping people to understand how to write prompts and use the capabilities of Copilot? So they're all good reasons for this dashboard. And up until now, the dashboard has only been available to organizations that are also subscribed to the Viva subscription, the Viva suite, or maybe you've focused in on Viva Insights. Well, this is good news for organizations that are subscribing to Copilot for Microsoft 365. The dashboard will be included. You don't have to have Viva Insights now. That's where that silly joke was. Daniel, you don't need insights. But we have a good message that shows
I was
what
laughing
this,
on the inside.
you keep a lot of laughter on the inside, Daniel. You might notice that I'm going to be a little more toned down in this episode. I know I probably shouldn't call this out, but I'm going to try and bring value and less dad jokes. Anyway, so that the screenshots we got in the message do give us a good sense of what this dashboard looks like, and maybe this is the first time that you're seeing something like this because you don't have insights. What to expect to see. A dashboard, which I find this part interesting, Daniel. I want your thoughts on this. The dashboard will become automatically available to a limited number of leaders in the organization. And it's going to group up these results, as we see in the screenshots, based on people who report to Cecil. How many people are actually using Copilot? And do you see some of the other results and stats there in the screenshots, how they're broken down?
Yeah, I think it's interesting to see how they're grouping that. How they're, and I get why, to be honest. And maybe you're planning on talking about this, but I get why they're grouping that, because frankly, the people I'm talking to, the organizations I'm talking to that are looking at Copilot and rolling it out, one of the things beyond knowledge management and findability and curation, one of the things is ROI, right? How do I roll this out in an effective way, but prove that we're getting ROI, and then how tweak it, be able to tweak it and find out who's not using it. If I give a license or 50 to people and they're not using it, then how do I give it, reallocate those so I'm not spending money I don't need? So, that's what I'm thinking this grouping does. But this idea of, these limited number of leaders and how are those identified, is that, and this is my question, and I couldn't find it in the documentation. I'll keep looking, but is that the same as identifying leaders when you go through, when you're setting that up in Viva, in Viva Engage, you can identify leaders. So is that the same? I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, there's dependencies. Some organizations aren't using Active Directory as fully as they could. They use another source for that information, which often is driven out of HR. But one dependency will be that you have that manager and that reports or direct report field filled out, so that you know who you're reporting to, and then you can get these groupings of the manager that has 50 people who have Copilot licenses but are being underused. Yeah,
and that's the way it describes it, and so I'm glad you pointed that out. It is using the manager field and, intra ID to identify managers and get that hierarchy and define, who are the people who have licensed users in their hierarchy and grouping them that way.
Yep. So there's some good details too about how to set it up, uploading cohort listings and groupings using CSV files. It's quite a lengthy, good article, or rather message to step us through that. But just found that was interesting, and it is positive news for people who are looking at return on investment and then focusing adoption efforts, or even just license allocation. If a group of people are not getting the value out of it, it's a discussion with their manager, and it's in the it's in the report. And it's not to say it's a negative thing necessarily. It's just making sure that the use is there, or if you need help, then it will focus those efforts where they need to.
Yeah, you're an expert in user adoption.
Try to be.
And I work in the space too, and we know for a fact that just because maybe a certain group of people, individuals, but in this case a certain group, are not using something the way you want them to doesn't necessarily mean they won't ever. It just means that maybe you need to work with them to on those adoption efforts of showing them and demonstrating how to do this better. And so maybe it's we do some you make some choices and you reallocate based upon who's actually using it, and then you can come back and say, let's work on this to see if they will use it. One thing I do want to say on this is, definitely check out that link that's in the message about the automatically available, because it actually does do. I reread it. It does a decent job at telling you how these automatic people that are going to show up in here, how that all is going to work, and it's the top 3 tiers of your architecture, and significant number of people are under them, that kind of stuff. So definitely check that out.
Yeah. So this will be generally available, will begin rolling out early July 2024 and expected to be complete late September 2024. Daniel, we didn't reorder these.
Oh, they don't know. I was hoping that you wouldn't.
Oh, okay. Well, let's just skip to your next message. Look, shared channels are quite a interesting, useful feature, which maybe it's underused. But tell us what might help in this space with sharing those.
Microsoft Teams ask to join a shared channel with a channel link, MC792603. So we have been able to, create a channel link, to our Teams channels to share it with individuals. And what this is talking about coming soon, you're going to be able to create a link for a shared channel, send it to someone who's not a member, maybe, and I think the screenshot shows like a one-to-one chat maybe. And then when the person clicks on it, they will be presented with a dialogue of, do you want to join this shared channel? So this will then notify the owners to decide whether the channel owners to decide if they should approve your request. And I generally, I'm okay with this. I think it's kind of a, getting people involved, capturing the people that need to be part of a specific channel, especially if shared channels are used in your organization. And I think there's different ways of using shared channels. One is a definite security boundary that you're trying to create. But another is you're creating shared channels for specific purpose, and you really want to grow that based upon interest. And when you run against something where maybe somebody isn't familiar with whatever you're trying to do, or you're onboarding people into a shared channel, right? And trying to drum up activity and wanting people to join. So I like this idea. And to be able to, just as it shows in the screenshot, for the user to be able to, join the channel. One thing about this, though, Daryl, that is, and this is not unique to this situation, okay? But one thing that, just some caution and around the user adoption we were just talking about, is we have to make sure our channel owners understand this process and understand when they click approve what that means, right? Because if this shared channel is used in a way that is a bit of a security boundary and keeping information, separate, and keeping it to a point of, making sure that not everybody gets to this information, then we have to be careful, right? If you have 10 channel owners and one of those people is just like, sure, approve, it must be okay. Well, maybe it's not, right? So we have to make sure channel owners understand their role and understand the power that they have and what the meaning or the purpose, I guess I should say, of the shared channel. Do you agree, Daryl? Does that make sense, or am I just blowing smoke?
Yeah, it can be confused with the private channel paradigm, which is definitely about keeping information separate and inviting only those who need to see it there. But Daniel's right in that, well, you're right, I'm talking to you as well, where, yeah, like this shared channel, it's hosted in a team, and when you do invite a team or a person to add this to their team, then it does open up a whole extra group of people that can access that. So you do need to give some consideration with this. Yeah, I think it's probably more of a convenience feature than having to add people's names to multiple invites, probably.
Absolutely. Overall, I'm liking this because you can send out an email to the 10 people you want to join, or maybe a group chat. Maybe Teams would prefer for you to stay in Teams. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Send a URL out to all those people and say, click this link and join. So, targeted release rolling out mid-June 2024 and be completed by mid-June. So, instant. It's another instant message, kind of like Instant Oats. General availability worldwide and GCC will begin rolling out late June 2024 and can be completed by late June. So again, instantly, poof. And then general availability for GCC High and DoD mid-July through mid-July. Again, poof, you get it. So I'm excited about it. I want to hear some loop-de-loop. I heard some loop information come out this week that was announced about some governance, and I'm like, oh, this is wonderful, but that's not what this message is about. So it's got me more interested in loop. So tell me, Daryl, about auto-creating those workspaces.
Yep. So we're having recurring meetings, and we need to be able to bring our information together in one space at the end of that meeting. Well, this new feature in Teams combines Loop and Microsoft Loop workspaces to try and manage that. So Microsoft Teams auto-create Microsoft Loop workspaces to share meeting content. This is MC792605. And let's first of all talk just briefly about one other feature, which is collaborative notes. This is something that's been, a good way of working together and in a meeting, taking notes together. But one area that doesn't work so well is when it's a recurring meeting. A collaborative note is a file that's attached to a meeting. It's live and collaborative in that sort of chat pane experience or panel, and you can type up your notes there together. But recurring meetings, sometimes people want to use the same one, and it doesn't quite work with this scenario very well. Now, this feature is interesting. Let's say that we've got a recurring meeting for a project, and we're setting up that cadence for it. We want to have a place where our documents are all referenced and easily put together. Our notes that we might take together are all put in the same place. And what happens in this is that at the end of the meeting organizer is prompted to say, hey, would you like to use a Loop workspace to pull all of those meeting artifacts together and make it easier for people to work with? It will, if you do say, yeah, go ahead, create it. It's going to take you through a guided process. It'll name the workspace after the meeting name or subject. It'll automatically add the people to that workspace that was in the meeting. And let's just talk a little about that. The people may be a mix of people inside your organization or not. Today, this feature is going to be working just with people in your organization. We're not quite yet ready for guest access. The documents, files that might have been shared in the chat will be attached as links into the meeting, so the workspace. And so as we go through that creation process, we've got the name of the workspace, we've got the people that have been automatically added there, and then there's a screen that says, okay, of all of these files that have been shared within the chat, Do you want to tick the box or make sure, or untick the box of the files that you don't want to be in that workspace for it? Now, the good thing about this, Daniel, is it's only for recurring meetings at this point. Sort of wondering whether or not it would be a valuable feature for one-on-one or one single meetings. But as a recurring meeting, it means that, that chat that kind of continues, you might add some more files that you're going to share with people, and they will be automatically added to the workspace. There's no need to manually do that. This is probably more. There's more to say than the 4 or 5 minutes that we might talk about this message. So worth taking a closer look, maybe in a separate video or something. But what are your thoughts around workspaces and automatic creation? Do you think this would be helpful?
I do. I think it's helpful the way you described. I think, one of the last things you just said, though, does make me go, adding people after the fact, how that always gives me pause of we've done something and now we're adding someone afterwards, making sure that they have all the context or not. That's always kind of the I want to add them, but now they're going to gain access to everything. You just have to make sure you keep that in mind, but making sure also that they're onboarding well, right? Mm-hmm. Meaning, great.
They understand what it is.
Right. They understand what it is and understand all the context around the meeting, around the notes, around the documentation, the elements that were shared, all of that.
Yep. So there will be some limitations to around this. Like I said, it's not going to take on guests at this point, but that's something that will be worked towards. It is just for recurring meetings. It isn't supported in channel meetings today. Or it's not even available today, but it won't be, all right? So there's things like that which will be worked on over time. But as a first release, it could be a useful tool for meeting organizers to bring these things together and to make one place to start working on those things together. So this is becoming available. Targeted release is mid-May, so that's nowish and expected to be complete mid-May. Whoa. What is up with these instant releases? Anyway, general availability worldwide. I did it, Daniel. We begin rolling out mid-May and complete by early June. How about that? Daniel, look, we don't talk enough about Viva these days, and I want us to make a connection on this one.
Oh my, that was impressive, Daryl. Thank you for that wonderful transition. Microsoft Viva Connections, now available on the web. This is MC 791-877. Well, it says now, not really now, but soon now. This is bringing the Viva Connections experience in line with where they have made available some of the other Viva experiences and in your browser. So you don't need to use Teams to consume it. Now, this would be helpful, I think, for really what they're targeting here is organizations that are not using Teams yet. I wasn't aware that was a thing, that there's organizations not using Teams, but cool. It is going to bring together, same functionality that you'll have in Teams as the Teams app in the browser. Now, you may look at this message, like I did, and scroll and go, oh, that's a nice screenshot. Look at all this information. This is amazing. How in the world do I actually get to it? Because there is no link, there's no URL, there's no information about how you actually get to it. When you go through to the link at the bottom to learn a little bit more, there is no link to show, to take you to the web version. It's not rolled out yet, which, kind of makes sense. But how are you supposed to prepare for this change if you don't know the URL? Well, you can look at the screenshot, and the screenshot shows that the URL is viva.cloud.microsoft/connections. And so when you go there, once it's rolled out to you, you will be able to get that experience. Now, right now, when I go to it, it gives me a nice error. And it's not a nice error. When I say nice, I don't mean it. It is an ugly error that to users, they will not understand that at all. So don't go there yet. But if you go to viva.cloud.microsoft right now, then it's the Viva landing experience where over on the left-hand rail, you'll be able to connect with connections, engage, insights, learning. So right now, when you click on connections, it loads up or opens up the Teams link to the connections app. But I'm assuming once this is rolled out for web, when you click that, it won't do that. It'll take you actually just to the connections experience on the web. That's my assumption because we don't have more information about whether that's what's going to happen. But according to the screenshot, that's what it looks like it's going to do. This is rolling out mid-May, so nowish, 2024, completed by late May. General availability, if that's target release, general availability worldwide, GCC, GCC High, and DoD will be rolling out late May through mid-June. So I think there's going to be some use cases for this outside of just people who don't use Teams. So I'd like to hear more. Make sure you leave us a comment down below in the video. If you're on audio or you want to do it on socials, at 365MCS, make sure you let us know. How are you going to use this in your organization once it rolls out? Daryl, I do not want to be disturbed when I'm presenting, when I'm in a meeting in Teams. But what about those people that do want to be disturbed? Because they are disturbed.
I find that quite disturbing. Yeah. Microsoft Teams, manage your Do Not Disturb present status when screen sharing. That's MC791879. We're in a meeting. I go to present. Teams helpfully puts me into Do Not Disturb. So changing from that busy meeting status to Do Not Disturb status. This is a really useful feature for when you are presenting. You don't want messages popping up of, hey, is it lunch yet? Or maybe side comments from co-presenters who are trying to get your attention or not. There's all sorts of things that could be, that would be distracting from what you're trying to present. And I think that's the point of the Do Not Disturb feature. But this is about giving you the ability to change your status so you're not in Do Not Disturb when you're screen sharing. I forgot, Daniel, what your use case was, so I'll ask you about yours soon, but mine would be maybe I'm training people on the notifications within Teams and I want them to see them. So I'm sharing my screen using a Teams meeting and I want to show them this is what a notification looks like, or that when I mention you, then this pops up here. So I might change from Do Not Disturb to the busy state, for example, so that I can show people in the meeting. But what was your idea around turning it off?
Well, I just have been in meetings more than I believe should be required. In meetings where people were on a single screen, and so they couldn't see chat. And so they'd say, can someone watch chat to see if there's any questions because I can't see it because I'm on a single screen? And so maybe this could be helpful to have those chats pop up on the screen while you're presenting and go, oh, so-and-so's just said blah, blah, blah. No, and address it then. Maybe that's a use case. I would say then that seems kind of intrusive, maybe not to you, but other people. I'm trying to watch what you're presenting, and now there's these pop-ups. I don't want chat. I don't want to pay attention to chat. I'm trying to pay attention to what you're presenting. Yet now that you're sharing your screen, I'm seeing these pop-ups come up, and I just don't. And frankly, I think a bigger deal would be a pop-up is a one-to-one, or a chat from somebody that says, "Hey, did you fire John yet?" And even if it's even if it's a joke, still, I just don't, I don't understand why you would do this. Maybe it's a test account, right? Just like you were talking about for training. Maybe it's a test account, and so you do want to show those notifications. You do want, but man, if you're on a single screen, you want to watch chat. Well, get out your phone. Get out your phone. Join the meeting chat on your phone so you can see the chat, and that's your second screen. Do something else other than this.
This is more of a commentary I have, or comment I have. From a message center standpoint, and someone who, we look at the message center quite a bit. I think looking closer at this message, there's a good, portion of content there, but it's really the last couple of sentences near there. It says, based on customer feedback, we're now introducing this feature for increased flexibility while working to receive notifications and messages in presentation mode. Nowhere else does it sort of give a reason why or any kind of use cases. So it feels like, and maybe I'm being a bit critical here, maybe Microsoft okay, we're going to do it because some of our biggest customers have asked for it for some reason, but here it is. We're doing it. Yeah. It's there now, people.
I want to, give reasons. I'm right there with you. Tell us the use cases. Why would we do this? Because as a change manager in an organization, I'm going to have to, it's not really a selling thing, but it's here's something that's rolling out and here's why. Here's some use cases. Here's why you might actually use this. So keep in mind that it's there. Well, help us out here. Why would you use this? Here are two people that have so much experience in the space of using Teams, of presenting. I've presented so much. And, I would hate this. And so please help me. We're struggling with trying to figure it out in real world cases, why you would do this. And so, definitely. I wish they would have given us some examples.
Well, Daniel, we'll be able to do it soon anyway. It is for targeted release, rolling out early June and completed by mid-June in general availability. And GCC will begin rolling out mid-June and expected to complete early July. And with that, that's our last message. We thank you all for joining us on that journey. Quite a trip through different thoughts and opinions around things that are going to be arriving soon, things that could be helpful, things that are a bit bemusing. But you, hopefully enjoyed this, and where to follow us and message us on socials. It's at 365MCS. We do have that email address, which is show at
365mcs.com.
Yeah, I think I'll need a t-shirt.
I think you do, and we've received 0 emails, which is fine with me. I'd rather people hit us up on the socials anyway. So we only have the email because Daryl said it during a show one time, and so now we have it. Hit us up on socials. I'd love to engage with you. Make sure you give us a thumbs up on the video, please. Give us a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed and give us a chat down in the comments. Let us know what you think. Those on the audio podcast, we love hearing from you as well. There's quite a few of you. Appreciate you. Hit us up on the socials, okay? Until next time, have a great week, everybody.
Bye for now.